Today we're going to do a rapid fire. Jack is going to tell us all the questions generated by AI.
That's right. And we'll treat this as part rapid fire, part a review of the caliber of questions
Yeah,
that Claude AI presented us. Spoiler, they're pretty good. Okay. So rapid
don't spill the
fire
beans.
means a rapid fire start. Jeremy, what
Oh,
specific triggers in a prospect's LinkedIn activity signal the best time to reach out? I look for,
pretty good.
okay. You could look at it were they recently hired in the role. That would be a very good indicator, maybe, if your customers tend to be new hires. You may also look if they're posting, trying to recruit for a specific role they're hiring for. You got anything here, Jeremy?
Yes, I like also I like also how many posts recently they've done. Like someone been trying to reach out and then looking at the LinkedIn, and then the last post was
Mm.
like 4 months ago. It's like, why do you even bother on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Okay. So determine which channel to use. That's a good point. Okay. Sweet. So number two, when personalizing at scale, what parts of a prospect's profile, I'm guessing LinkedIn profile, yield the highest response rates?
Hmm.
I guess this is for me, Jeremy.
Yeah,
This should
I
be
was
this
about to
should
say
be my
that.
thing. Okay. So if we are proudly sharing something that we accomplished, it's recent and yet under the radar, those tend to do really well. So if you were passionately talking about your, big idea on a podcast that's not super well known, a lot of people may not have heard it. If you're the guy who spends time to listen and make a thoughtful comment on what they were saying, those tend to work really nice. People appreciate that you saw something that they were excited to share with the world and yet hasn't gotten the traction they wish it was.
Yeah,
Look for those. Those are
I
gems. Yeah.
definitely agree. Yep, it's a good one.
Cool. Jeremy, you run this one. How do you write subject lines that feel personal without appearing automated?
So first question I will ask myself is like, doesn't need to be personal. And then the second question I will do, or the second answer I will give is that I will just basically give one word or two words. So that way it doesn't sound
Mm-hmm.
automated. Like most automation try to do two fluffy words or like, subject lines when one or two
There you
words.
go.
I try to always condense to just one or
Mm-hmm.
two words.
And those one or two words are not buzzy, markety words either.
Correct. And
It's
not
just
capitalized. Yeah.
there you go. If you get stuck on this recommendation, just think, what's the email about in one word, in two words,
That's
invoice,
right. Yeah.
billing, question,
I
whatever.
love
Yeah,
it. Podcast, whatever.
yeah, easy. Easy, Claude. Give us a hard one. What's the optimal
They're pretty
mix
good.
of value add content sharing versus direct outreach on LinkedIn? All right, I need to take this one, Jeremy. So, um, in my
I give it to
opinion,
you.
that's so kind. This is a rapid fire. We need to focus. No, but the primary reason you're going to be posting on LinkedIn, like what you want to hear is so that you can become famous in your industry. But sorry, that ain't really happening for 99% of us.
Yep.
Instead, what you are promoting content for is twofold. One, so that you have more trust signals on your profile when someone you reach out to checks you out. And luckily, you don't need a whole lot of posting to achieve that goal. But two, you want a strong social selling index so that LinkedIn allows you to send the maximum number of connection requests each week. And to do that, you just need to send a couple posts a week and engage with some people's posts each week. If you do that, honestly, I think you're there and focus most of your time on doing great outreach. Jeremy, you want to edit anything there?
No, you nailed it. Moving on.
Boom, bada boom. How many touch points? We're number 5. We're halfway there, and we're 6 minutes to go. We're okay. How many touch points across email and LinkedIn before first response based on current data, Jeremy?
Yeah, I can take this one. Basically, most of the reply will come on your first touch point, whether it's like LinkedIn or whether it's email. So you have to sort of like base accordingly to how much activity that person is doing. So if he's not really active on LinkedIn, you could try email. If he's very active on LinkedIn, try LinkedIn first. And usually you'll have a response on the first touch point.
Right. So, and I remember in 2019, we were telling people the magic's in the follow-ups. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean there are
Yeah.
still replies, but I think like it's generate the highest response rate. It's the first one.
Boom. Okay. Six, what message length generates the highest response rates for different seniority levels? That's a dumb question. I don't think
You
length
know,
matters for seniority. What do you
exactly.
think?
I think it's inconclusive. So we looked at that already in the past, and it's totally
Shorter is
inconclusive.
so not seniority. I don't know, but I know that the smaller the length of the message, the higher the reply rate.
Yes, but it's still close to being conclusive. So on general, yes, but you find some weird outliers, and they should not be there, but they are there. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
kind of
Do you
awkward.
remember what was that guy's name? It was like this cold email template from 2018 that caught on like wildfire.
Yeah, I think it
And
was
it CC'd the few
yeah
decision makers.
Brian Kreuzerberg, I think it
There you
was.
go. It's like the email
Yeah, and it
alchemy.
wasn't
I think
small,
that's the guy.
but it did actually work pretty like a banger. We used
It
that
was a
actually in
whole
QuickMail.
page. It was a
Yeah,
whole like three paragraphs and a conclusion. It was
and it
insane.
worked.
And
It
it
worked because
worked.
we actually use the CC, and it's still there actually. You say equal colleagues, and it will put automatically the name of your colleagues as a tag in QuickMail. So I
That's
know
really
we
cool.
implemented
Yeah.
it. Mhm.
Do it because it works. Okay. Let's carry on here. So we've got which LinkedIn comment strategies actually lead to meaningful conversations? Uh,
Not the AI one. I
not
had
the AI
someone
one.
I had
Come on.
someone posting comments on all my posts, and at some point I'm like, that looks like AI. And then since I said that, I'm not having any comments from him.
Is that
So it's like,
right?
it's
It
probably
heard
AI.
you.
It
It
probably
heard
was.
you. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know this one.
Me
I don't
neither.
do LinkedIn comment strategy. Sounds fluffy to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, how do you transition from LinkedIn engagement to email without appearing pushy?
Oh,
Wow,
that's
this is a
easy.
weird one.
No, I
Yeah,
do
like
that. I mean, we do have
no,
that, you
no,
know.
fine.
Oh,
I'm not
as a
saying not to
question.
do it. I'm like, what a weird like. How do you transition? Like, hey, how do you say hello? What's your name? Whatever. How do you do it,
I
Jeremy?
see what you mean. I see what you mean. But I think I take the question as more, uh, you know, if you send a request and then you send an email straight away, you know, do you appear like too pushy or whatever? The answer is absolutely not. It's fine. You can almost like send like 5 minutes apart for those two channels. That'll be absolutely fine. It's like
Yeah, I mean, just think of it from
it
the receiver. Is
yeah,
that going
it's
to be weird
interesting.
if
No, but it's actually, I think it's two different channels. And then people actually don't necessarily have that because they actually move to the channel when they want it, this type of thing. And it's, I think there is something here. Maybe we'll do a cast at some point, but I do think there is something here when we're
to
actually
me,
talking about multi-channels.
I'm like nobody cares. Like that's
That's
not
right.
even. Maybe that's just me being, hardened to the outreach life where I don't care about
Yeah, I don't know.
that. That's such a gentle thing to worry about. Anyways,
That's true.
what follow up cadence maximizes responses while minimizing unsubscribes?
Well, not really in newsletters, but still,
Yeah.
still people can still unsubscribe if you put an unsubscribe link. So I guess that
Uh,
kind of qualifies.
I'm
Anyway,
going to say that was the worst question asked
okay,
all
fine.
show. All right, but we have one more. Let's see if
Yeah.
we're going to end on a high note. How do you reference shared connections or mutual interest without sounding forced? Don't. Like, do you really? Is that really going to make the ice broken there?
There was that
That's
tactic at some point, right? About like referencing, like, hey, since we together like linked to Mr. X, I figured like rather than asking Mr. X, I could go straight away and just, you know, ask to connect with you. And
yeah, but
I remember we
this
talked about this, about like, hey, we should try this tactic, whatever.
that was definitely 3 years ago plus. So
Yes, I
my
have good
my
memories.
recommend you do. My recommendation here is just yeah, don't do it. I mean, there is one change. It said or mutual interest. So I don't know if this counts, but today I had a sales call where, granted, it was like an inbound lead, and they don't need to like woo me that much for me to
Yeah.
join them if they're qualified. But
Very
they said,
nice.
hey, it looks, he was a bald guy too, and he's like, hey, looks like we go to the same barber, and like, okay,
Oh, that's funny.
that's funny, like I so I think in cold outreach, could I have said that? Maybe on LinkedIn because there's headshots there. Probably been weird on cold email since there's no
Uh,
headshots.
I don't know, those sort of things you have to be careful. Some people are like sensitive to that,
Ah,
right?
never mind. Hold on. I figured it out. So I once did a campaign when I was in Prague looking at like SaaS founders, and I wrote on there like as a PS, like happy to meet up for a Pilsner. And like a quarter of the people were like very into the Pilsner idea. I think it's just know your audience, but also I think that like was a mutual interest, didn't sound forced. It can be done, but it's like rare. When are you going to find a fellow mountain biking enthusiast as you do your quality outreach? Like I wouldn't bank
I
on it.
guess it depends on what you're looking at, to be honest, because you could be interested in things that are much broader, shared by the population. I don't know.
Not
You could
really a rapid
segment.
fire answer.
That's true. I agree. You could even actually segment your list by interest, and then just like a quick, special PS for each of those. Well, anyway, I'm not
Good
like.
luck, because then you're going to end up saying messages like, glad we both love unicycling. Like right, like if you're not careful, if you just drum up whatever they're interested, it could be awkward on the call. But I think we did justice.
What do you think of those questions from the AI?
I give it 8 out of 10. I thought 8 out of 10 were solid. And thanks, Claude. What about you?
Yeah, I think they were kind of like almost like too sophisticated in a sense. Like kind of like sometimes you just wonder like, oh, that's a weird connection I wouldn't have made necessarily in my mind, but the AI
Yes,
did.
like
But there were
length to
some solid
seniority.
ones. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there were some solid ones that like I don't know the answer. Like I would need to actually look at the stats and the data in order to figure it out. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it could be good for generating some ideas of what to look for. Why not?
There you go. I stand by the idea that use AI with guidelines so that it's not running free and like unmanaged. Right? We make
We
these
know what you're
teardowns about
thinking.
awkward. Yeah, but no, it can be a good tool. So look at us. We're like what's the word? I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of our episodes we're talking about how AI personalization is like a bad idea, but I'm happy that we're finding good use cases, and there'll be more and more good use cases for incorporating AI for cold outreach. I mean, do it already. It's just like there's a word of caution around doing it at scale without checkpoints.
Okay, the last thing I will say, Jack, because this is a rapid fire after all, I will say that the last time we reviewed AI like properly was probably like 2 years ago, and
No,
or one
no,
year
no,
ago.
no,
One year
no.
ago. I
Really?
mean, a lot of things have changed since. Or at least it feels like a long time ago because the technology has really changed. But I think the most important thing is how do you really properly use the prompt? And I think a lot of
Yeah.
people were just like using like, weird stuff at the beginning, which led some weird stuff like going wild and then trying
Good
because it
point.
was a new tech.
There
But
you
now
go.
it becomes better and that's scary to some extent.
Ooh. All right. Well,
Hey, happy
good
Halloween,
rapid
everyone.
fire. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now use it to your advantage, and catch you next time, Jeremy.
All right. Thanks, Jack.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.